Talking to welcome to Neutral Voices. I'm Dr. B. This is In Depth, and we are in depth tonight for sure. We can't tell y'all what was going on just then. Let's call it a slight wardrobe malfunction. But anyway, we are here, and tonight we're going to have a great conversation about the male and female relationship. And I'll add an S, relationships, because we're going to talk about all relationships.
Right.
So work relationships, friendships, marriages, divorces, no, just whatever, right? All relationships. I'm excited to talk about it. I got a few things brewing.
I'm ready for it too. I'm ready for it too.
On the secret side.
Yeah, I've actually wrote a couple books on this.
I didn't know you wrote fiction.
The real, yeah. So
you asked.
The real ladies that was going to be here tonight, they couldn't make it.
You got us. You got us.
So we're going to have to pick that up later, another day. Anyway, so before we get too deep in the ships, let's talk about the new terms for some of these relationships that men and women are in. I think Jada started something, Jada Pinkett Smith, back in 2020 at the Red Table.
That was her
when
entanglement?
She started, with who is that, Austin or
August
or somebody?
August Alsina.
So, she came up with her own phrase, entanglement.
Right.
But then
did she ever define that?
She don't need to. And by the time she got through breaking down that young man was her son's friend, but the husband was helping and they was taking care of him, and it sounded like an entanglement, didn't it?
That was the definition. That was absolutely
awkward situation, dealing with sex, romance, secrets, other relationships involved, and so.
But when a relationship is open.
No.
When your relationship, they had an open relationship.
You think Will knew he was in there?
Come on now. Well, why you think he didn't get mad? Why you think he didn't get mad?
Well,
come on now.
We were just talking about this when we came on the air.
Like that.
Cool
like that.
Jada is selling her book, and she said they weren't even together during that time frame. Her book is saying that they gave a facade that they were together. They went outside as a family. They gave their ship outside into the public, but that they weren't even living in the same household at the same.
So that's kind of like a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say this. Forgive me, pastors, first ladies.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
No, but the truth is, I mean, I've been there. I've been on that side of things. Oh, should I sit up straighter? I've been on that side of things, honestly. And, I made a joke that now I understand why the First Lady wear big hats, because if there's dirt in the house and some things going on, especially Saturday night, Sunday morning, you kind of hide it. It's like you don't need the congregation to know because you don't want to make them feel some type of way, and you don't want the pastor to be exposed in that way. So you still gotta act a certain part, right?
Right.
And so and so I mean it happens. So when you say this is one of the things that happened that night that Will slapped old boy. Jada saying they weren't even together, they was faking it. I'm saying a lot of people.
Yeah, she said for years too. Even
I'm just saying
separated.
A lot of people, they were together, but they were a million miles apart.
Something I would be glad when people would stop putting on the facade.
Yeah, but that goes into where Doc V was saying where we are today. In the most common relationship, I think that men and women of all ages have gotten into are these situationships. Where it's a undefined relationship.
Let's break down the definition of situationship.
And I think sometimes on the other end of the spectrum, it's very defined.
Well,
it is.
By definition, it's a relationship, either romantic or sexual, that has no formal establishment or definition. That's what the definition
And
is.
yet the two people are in agreement.
In agreement, right.
Yep.
Yes.
And there's boundaries in that relationship. But as long as those two people are on the same page and have the same expectations or none of each other.
Correct.
Yeah. It works.
This is how it's going to be if it's how it, if it's going to be.
It works.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, try it. No,
I'm gonna sit up here and be quiet. I'm gonna listen.
I don't know anything about that. We're going to have to talk about the next one and see if that's more my thing. What's the next one?
That's a guilty thing if I ain't never heard one.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get into, of course, we have our work relationship and things like that. So before we get into that, let's talk about just healthy relationships altogether. So we're going to kind of go through some things and let's bring out some points to healthy relationships. And as we talk about healthy relationships, you might find yourself here somewhere and you might be able to jump in at some time. So feel free. Communication.
First and foremost, you're not gonna throw a dagger and then you'll jump into your bull crap. That's what you're not gonna do. No, we're not gonna do that tonight. Because if that's the case,
communication is
if that's the case, well, I'm communicating with you right now.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. So
I'm communicating with you right now. You're not gonna throw a dagger and then try to jump into your mess. Don't do that.
I'm gonna stop it before it gets there.
Just go through your little script and run that. Okay? Ain't no emotions. Just letting you know. Next.
Do you remember a group back in the days? Clarence, you said H-Town.
Yes.
What did you mention H-Town for?
Because they made the song.
What was
Emotions.
it called?
Emotions make you cry sometimes.
Yeah.
That's what this song is talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, did anybody mention emotions? Okay.
Come on, let's go.
Let's have this conversation. So I mentioned communication. And see, here's the thing. Women, men, male, female, you can be in all types of relationships. And so E and I...
I'm not in no type of relationship with you. Not a good one, not a bad one, not even in a between one. And just let's clear that one up.
Okay, here we go.
He's missing a point.
We are in
I ain't missing no points.
Yeah, well.
I know where she was going with it, and that's why I said I'm gonna stop it right where it goes.
We came on air going down here,
Now.
going somewhere. Anyway, so let's talk about these different things. So I mentioned communication. E didn't do too well with it, so let me toss it over here to
Ain't
Jill.
do well at all. Sure ain't. Not at all. Now.
We have communication. We have respect. Clarence, you want to speak on communication? Since it seems to make other people nervous.
No, I'm going to give you a prime example, and y'all displayed it right now. A lot of times, men and women can't communicate because they don't know how to speak to one another. Communication is an exchange of information, ideas, thoughts, emotions, whatever you want to do, however you want to term it. But the problem is we think differently, we see things differently. So the way you see it and how you communicate it to me, I'm not understanding it because that's not the way I see it, feel it, or think it.
Absolutely.
So we do more talking at or over each other than we do to each other. And we talk not to understand or gain knowledge.
Respond.
We talk to respond, or we listen to respond.
Yeah.
We don't listen to understand or intake what's being told to us. I'm already in my head. I got the next response for no matter what you say.
Yes.
Hey, he sound like a married man.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just saying.
This is a rough show.
I'm just saying.
We're talking about relationships.
But think about it. Think about it. In most relationships, even in a authoritative or subordinate relationship, like your boss, most time your boss come to you left-sided, you already, I'm about to give him a piece of my mind. I already got what I'm going to tell him. And most of us practice it before we even leave
We're
the house.
a step ahead.
They're gonna say something to me today, so I already got this. But we don't.
That's right.
People, we don't talk. We don't listen to understand, and we don't talk to get a point across. We always talking at or above people to make ourselves feel good, and we're not trying to communicate.
Yeah, and that's with any kind of ship. So like a partnership, if you're in a business like a group and you don't know how to communicate, you might as well park the ship and pull it over, because it's just like a relationship. If especially if you have more people, if you don't know how to communicate, or you have several people who don't know how to communicate, everything is done. Communication is, I think, one of the very top things.
And it is, and that's why it's
not just verbal either.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So you know.
I told you he's a married man.
So listen. So it is number one on the list. So I want to point this out. And so one of the things that stood out to me, it says both parties should feel comfortable expressing their feelings, thoughts, and concerns without fear of any type of retaliation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's where the breakdown is in a lot of relationships, because some people are not going to say what they really feel.
Right.
They're not going to express themselves.
Right.
Even some people that do the silent treatment,
to keep the peace.
Period. Yes.
To keep the peace.
That silent treatment is a very strong form of communication.
Right.
So, yeah, and people do that whether, is mother, child. I mean, sometimes I've seen some moms even, just shut down.
Yep.
I'm not talking.
Yep.
And that's just the way they have to move through the process in that relationship. But, okay, and so the second one on the list is actually respect. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about that in your relationships? You remember, who was that that said to put some in your relationship? Yes. But in your relationships with people, on different levels, do you feel like respect has to be there no matter what that relationship is?
Yes, but respect is not given. It's not entitled.
Right.
Respect is something that you earn.
I disagree with you on that one. And I agree and disagree. Let me say that, because I was always taught, in order to demand respect from anybody, you first have to give it. And that's just plain out. I don't care what relationship or what situation you're in. You cannot demand somebody to give you respect if you don't give it first. Because it says it in the Bible. Treat others like you want to be treated.
I agree, yes.
So out the gate, if I want your respect, I have to give it. Now, once I give it and you don't give it back, now I could demand, listen here, I gave you the respect that you deserve, and I demand it in return. So, it goes that way in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Clarence?
I was waiting. I didn't know. And he's right on that aspect, but here's what I was saying as well. And to that point, E, naturally, we're going to try to placate or give the common respect. But what I'm talking about in, a lot of things is you're not... I think I can talk to you anyway, especially in male and female relationships where some men were told that, you got to put her in her place, you got to check her, So I feel that you got to, and that's not a respect that you're going to get back in return. The respect you're going to get back in return. Negro, who you think you is? So what I'm saying is you have to not only give that respect, but you got to earn it and keep it.
I absolutely understand.
Any form of relationship.
Right.
You're going to give common respect where you were talking about, but
I'm just saying, you think I'm talking about common respect, but in all aspect, I'm talking about respect all the way around.
Right.
I got you.
And
you see what I'm saying? That's just not common respect. That's respect all the way around. So if I'm in a relationship with a female, I'm not finna try to boss her around. I'm not finna play, hey, you better do X, Y, Z. Hey, shorty, hey, this is what I want now. If she hear me, not listen. If she hear me.
Right.
It's a difference from her listening and hearing me. And it's the same thing with a man. It's a difference from listening to your woman and hearing your woman. Because once you hear that person, you totally understand.
Action after that.
Exactly.
Right.
You totally understand what that person means.
When we go, just like he was saying, it's. I don't think that respect is situational, like for something to work, because you cannot be respectful, for example, to your wife at home in front of the children and then go have an affair. Because if you respected your wife, you're going to respect her wherever you are. It is not situational. It is either, like E said, it's all across the board. So, and we forget about that, because if you respected your wife, you wouldn't go out, or if you respected your husband, you wouldn't go do those things.
Because respect means respecting that person's values, boundaries.
You respect them when they're at work and you're on social media talking to Richard from 1999. Like,
that's pimping.
all of these, different things are.
That's pimping.
have to do with respect.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Disrespect
got you on that
people
one.
a lot, and don't even think of it as disrespect because they don't know we're doing it.
That's right. And so you went somewhere else, and I know, Clarence, you got something you're going to talk about. I want to mention these real quick. So some other things for a healthy relationship: trust, emotional support, for sure. I know some men that they are just not supportive when it comes to emotions, with their wives. They just feel like she's over the top. She's just going to go overboard. Yeah. And she really needs the support at the time, and you know it. But anyway, independence, physical affection, some other ones, Clarence, you're going to talk about.
As we talked before we come on the air, and we were talking about the equality or the equalness of a relationship. And we are, in most relationships, we think that it's going to be 50-50 give and take,
That's why I mentioned Teddy Pendergrass.
Yeah, but 50-50 doesn't work.
50-50 love don't work?
Yeah, well, 50-50 of anything doesn't work because you have to give your all. Like he was saying, you got to give your all, and they got to bring their all to make this work. But see, it's a problem with the equality. And I was talking to you before we came on the air. In most of these situationships or today's relationship, we talk about this table. What are you bringing to the table? And if you look at social media and you believe social media, most women got this list of things that men are supposed to have. They're supposed to be 10 times greater than what the woman is bringing to the table. And the woman, I'm just saying, if you listen to social media, it's that all they got to do is bring themselves to the table. Everything else, the man has.
So you're saying that the woman actually has a list, her standards.
Yes, a list of standards. And
it's not just nice shoes.
No,
and a nice car.
Right. And all she has to do is bring herself to the table. But here's
nice
the problem with that.
Where that list at?
Hold them in.
I'm just saying, if you believe social media, you have to look. You can see it, and you hear women say, and every podcast you look at, they talk about relationship. They talking about what you bringing to the table. I got this. I got that. You got to have this. You got to have that. Well, if I got all of this, then I really don't need you. So you have to bring something equal that
now, what
I
is it that
have.
you feel like? I'm just okay.
I got to get in on this.
And I want to know what the woman should bring to the table. I just want to know that real quick.
In light of what you're saying, the equality of the situation. And it's funny, now that I got older and a little wiser in my situation, it's going to be times, you're right, it's 50-50 don't work. Not at all. It doesn't work at all. It's 100-100. But it's times it's going to be an 80-20 situation.
Yes, there is.
On either end. It's times it's going to be a 70-40. I mean, 70-30. It's times, and it's going to be back and forth. So that's what really makes the 100% all the way, because it's going to be times that I'm out the game. If you my woman, if we're in a relationship or married, and you're like, okay, my baby's out the game, I got you, don't even worry about it, and vice versa, hey, she out the game, don't even trip, I got you, I'm finna put you back on. But nowadays it's like, oh, he ain't got this, he ain't got that, and first and foremost, you telling me what I need to do for you, and you can't even do it for yourself.
Okay.
I'm going to get Jill, but I remember your question, but go ahead, Jill.
So I'm just going to speak a little on a different perspective with the table. So a lot of times we have our expectations are all messed up. Or as a woman, let's say that you're like, okay, the list you're talking about. He has to work out, but the woman's overweight. He has to be healthy, but she doesn't take care of herself. He has to have money, but she doesn't work. So all these things on the list, you aren't going to be able to give any of those things. So how are you asking for those things? On the other hand, a good woman or a good man is not going to bring anything to a table with 3 legs and the busted up 4th leg hanging on by a thing. So not all tables are worthy of
that's a good point. That's a great point.
But see, here's one of the things. Like I said, now that I got older, and they say, what you bring to the table. I don't bring nothing to the table. Let's build the table.
I knew you was going to go there. Yeah, let's make the table.
Let's build the table.
I'm not showing up and building anything.
And that's the problem right there.
So it's not like it used to be where the woman could be still at home with the parents.
That could be part of building the table. You have to understand.
He supposed to have the table built.
And that's the problem right there. Oh, you got.
No house in the prairie days are over.
I'm just saying, let's build the table. Let's build the table together.
Okay, so somebody from the audience said the Little House on the Prairie days are over. Ladies, listen to that now. So you telling me the young ladies that's actually in the home right now, and they plan to stay there until they are 25 or whatever, and hope for Mr. Right, the knight in shining armor, to come along, or the man on the white horse, whoever that is.
So I'm gonna ask you.
So you saying her dreams are over? That's not happening anymore.
You want to be treated like a queen, don't act like one.
You said say that again. Speak to the ladies.
I said you want to be treated like a queen, but don't act like one.
Okay, you saying that they're not acting like a queen, but you want to be treated like one.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, you telling me what I need to do for you. You need to pay my bills. Wait a minute. If I need to pay your bills, who paid your bills before I came in your life?
The last guy.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
You gotta go find him.
Jill said the last guy.
Because the simple fact, let's be realistic about it. I have my own bills I need to pay. Yeah. So, like I said, instead of talking about what you bring to the table, my theory is, let's just go ahead and build a table. And see, when we build a table, we building it together. And that means it's a solid foundation.
We need some audience participation on this. I got a feeling this is gonna need to be a part two.
I got that with E too, because I want to ask you a question. You asked me what does a woman have to bring to the table? It depends on my place in life, because I'm with E. I'm not gonna bring you to a table that was already sat at, because I already got the edge. If we gonna start, I want to sit at the table that some other man just sat at with you.
Correct.
You do that every time you go to Cracker Barrel or Red Lobster. That's ridiculous.
Make a push yourself.
Absolutely.
That's a whole different situation.
But here, you're saying that another man was already in that spot, more than likely.
Right. And we more than likely, we don't have the same thought. We don't have the same values. We don't have the same motives. We don't have the same. So I'm with E. Let's move from this table.
Young men.
Let's move from this table.
Young men.
Our table together.
I'm not
okay, so it's interesting because, I know y'all not that far apart in age.
Yes, he is. He's way older than me.
But I wish we had the perspective of an older man, like an older man. I would just love for him to chime in right here at this time.
The audience say something?
Yes, the audience wants to speak.
So I don't care if you want to build a table, because no matter what table you go to, man, you're going to take baggage to that table if you lived any kind of life.
Yeah.
So if there's already a table there's nothing wrong with enhancing it. That's just from the audience.
Okay, the audience said that either way, if you're going to build the table, he said the table, there's going to be something there. No matter what relationship, there's some baggage. Somebody's coming with something. So he said you can come to the table to enhance it.
That's a great
And bring your tools.
Bring your tools to fix the table.
Bring your tools.
Yeah.
The table have a bad leg.
The table could have some.
See?
I like that, because if we're calling the person the table, or the situation the table, or the past relationship the table, whatever we're referring to as the table,
it's all of that.
It is there, and you can't erase it. You can't remove it. And so there are some broken people in this world, and you can repair. You may not be able to make it whole like 100%, but you can repair a broken pot, and you can still get some use out of it. And I believe what the Bible say, even the dry bones, it makes some noise and come back to life. I just believe that. So I've been in a situationship, entanglement, a marriage, you name it. I've been in.
You've been in it.
I'm just saying. I'm not 20 years old, so I'm not sitting here and trying to act like I've never been in a relationship.
Yes. Right.
I've been in different relationships, and I would say, even if it was a relative, a niece, a friend, I've been hurt in different relationships.
True.
And so I don't want us to leave without acknowledging that there's other relationships outside of relationships where you're dating. Right. So we're having a conversation about female and male relationships, even work relationships. Why is it that some people actually start relationships on the job, and 31% of the marriages actually work that started in the workplace, at the workplace.
I don't wanna see that much.
Interesting.
I don't want to see that one.
I'm just saying. I mentioned that to say.
Listen, at the end of the day, and to be quite honest, I want to miss you just a little bit.
I didn't say they still work together. They met at work.
I still wouldn't.
They work together.
I want to miss you a little bit. So if I work with you,
Well, it started
and nah, player, because I'm not finna. What's that term? I want to say it.
Fraternize?
No, I don't want to eat where. You know what I'm saying.
Okay.
I don't want to do that because I might want to have some fun.
The thing is, I don't know what is going on here with that, but I wanted to bring that up to say that there's other relationships,
Right.
and yes, some people do take their work relationship to the extreme, and then it leaves work and it becomes something else.
Because you're there and you're spending a lot of time. Like sometimes you're spending more time with the people at work, or another man or another woman than you are your actual spouse. So then you start talking about things, and then it's emotional, and one thing leads to another.
That consoling,
right? And then you see them. So it's hard. It's hard to cut it off.
I'm going to say that as absolutely untrue when it comes to me. I could be at work all day and they don't even know I'm there.
His wife is right here.
I'm being absolutely true.
I just want us to make sure we know this.
Clarence,
We love you. We love you, wife.
I'm going to tell you the truth, how I know this. I can be at work and not at work, and they don't even know I'm there. I was off the other day, and my supervisor called me, and it was like, "Are you at work?" I was like, "No." I didn't think
You stay in your area.
I mind my business.
Okay, that's good.
You got your blinders
That's
on.
a good husband.
I'm
You like
minding my
this?
business.
That's a good husband.
You like this?
Yeah, I mind my business.
so you don't have a work wife, a work friend, a work anything.
No.
Oh
no.
wow! You are her? Are
No.
you what they call those people that just
A hermit at work?
no,
A recluse?
I don't want
He's
to call you
probably
that,
grumpy. He's probably grumpy.
No. I just mind my business.
but okay.
That's it.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. So speaking of business, you were going to talk about understanding each other's differences and how to help us keep a healthy relationship.
That goes with the audience when they were talking about noticing the table and refurbishing or building up.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, we want people to conform to what we want them to be. We want to mold people. We want to, just
Raise
contort
up
people.
the young man.
Yeah, young man or young
Baby
woman.
boy.
We want them, but we don't allow people, and you spoke of this, we don't allow people to continue their individuality within a relationship. You got to stop this, you got to stop this, and we try to conform it.
Yes.
But if you wanted to be with that person or you wanted to deal with that person, obviously it was something about that person when you first encountered them and met them that drew you to them.
Yeah.
But now you want to contort them and change them, you got to understand who they are first. But also you got to understand who you are. It's very important that you know who you are. Because, we get in relationships, and you were talking about hurt and trauma and everything. We don't deal with that. So we don't know what we're getting into, and we bring all of that into it, and we don't know why, and we can't deal with it because we don't understand a whole lot of stuff.
I want to say I want to say one word right there, and this will hopefully trigger Jill. But the expectations you have sometimes for another person or of another person, I say you let yourself down for having those expectations a lot of times.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I got a question for you, Clarence. You said you letting people mold you, right?
Yes.
I heard, I had my mentor, a couple other older men I talked to, when I was going through my situation with my marriage, and I didn't pay no attention. Mm-hmm. The object is, you said mold.
Right.
The object is to mold each other to become one.
That's true.
So if we are molding each other to become one, it's gonna be some chips and some neck crimps and crannies that's gonna have to come off, and you have to be able to relax yourself and trust the person you with. They'll mold you, and they have to do the same thing to mold you to become one.
Yes, and here's what I'm saying though. We're talking about understanding the differences. You know the strength of your partner, and you know what they can do. But many times, like those expectations.
Carmen will mold you.
No, those expectations.
She already did.
So let's not. We're not going to go there.
See,
We're not going to go there.
Come on, bro.
Thank you.
I'm gonna ask you a question, and this is man to man.
Here
I'm
we
gonna ask
go.
you a question.
This is Neutral Voices.
It's some things that Carmen have installed in you.
No.
Man, you
I
full
can say
of
that flat-footed.
All right.
I can say that
You
flat-footed.
full of
All
bull,
right.
man.
That flat-footed.
I swear.
Okay, I want to take y'all somewhere else.
You so full of.
I want to take y'all someplace.
You can't be married that long without her
Flat-footed.
molding something in
I'm
her.
not wavering.
And you,
Flat-footed.
man, you garbage.
Clarence.
I ain't listening to you.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
We gonna let you have
I'm
that.
off the panel
Jill,
right now.
So
Jill was gonna say
this is the last thing that I have that I'm out of here. So Clarence brought up knowing who you are. Something that I've learned on a personal level and through experience is how we choose our relationships, whether that be a sexual relationship, a business relationship, whatever. Because people say, how do I end up here? You don't end up here. You choose that type of man. You choose that type of
That's
friendship.
true.
We don't end up anywhere. With that being said, many of us, myself included, have chosen our relationships based not on purpose, but on pleasure. Pleasure fades.
That's
Pleasure
true.
fades when the bills are due, when you lose your job. None of that matters. What matters is, what was the purpose of this? Why did I take this partnership on? If you and I are going to go into a business partnership, you're going to make that decision based on what? A purpose.
Right.
Not based on pleasure. You're not going to
But
have that
We got an
instant
end goal.
gratification.
We got an end goal.
But Jill, because you going. And it sounds awesome and amazing. I wish I could say that was my story, but everybody has a story and a different experience.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for me, I could clearly say, how did I end up here?
Yeah.
Because if the person comes to the table as one person, there's such thing as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yes.
If you show up and you tell me and you show me that you're one person, and I say I do, and then 3 months later, you turn into somebody that's totally different.
Right.
I can ask the question strongly and say, how did I end up here?
And that goes back to when you
So-
talk about trust, that breach of trust, that where I lured you into trusting me.
Yes.
And then I betrayed your
Yes,
trust.
and
that
so
happens
that's
a
what I'm
lot.
saying. So if what Jill is saying, if that was true, if we could live there, that would be awesome and amazing. But the facts say, the stats say that that's not the case, because there's too many relationships where people have been betrayed,
Right.
lied to, misled, and all of these other things that I mentioned as we get into the secrets of relationships. So
I'm more
there's a lot of
well-meant, like-
secrets.
Like the other day, somebody said, like, why do I always date men like this? So like a
you shop at that store.
repetitive choice. Because I've had the
Habitual
same thing where-
failure,
Yeah,
yes.
where they show up as one
Absolutely.
thing, and then you're like, but you either stay, you either fight or flight.
That's
You know,
right.
I was out
Absolutely.
as soon as I.
We'll talk about that on another
But
show,
yeah,
about how you get out of there.
Yeah, but I want to tell
Quickly.
Jill, because I always say this, if you shop at Walmart, you know the product you're going to get. So if you continue to shop at Walmart, you're going to get Walmart goods. But if you want the Macy's goods, you can't get them at Walmart. You got to find a different store to shop at. And I agree with that.
I
You
want to know
can't-
where that story
If
is.
it's Champion, you can. You can get Champion.
Well, the reason I say I want to know where that story is because the perpetrator is actually everywhere.
That's true, too.
So when you say that, I'm saying I just have to be transparent to say that,
But then,
you know.
and where to Jill's point is sometimes we date types.
Yeah.
Well, that's what she said. When, that's when it's
But see,
habitual.
that's the other thing, like you were saying, knowing yourself. You have to get into, first and foremost, before you get in any relationship, hands down, and I'm just going to speak from experience, you got to know yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
You got to know who you are. I mean, I had to learn who E. Fikes really was. And if you don't know who you are as a person, and you know, once you know who you are as a person, you know what you're going to deal with, what you're not going to deal with. You know what you could put up with, or how far you could put up with certain situations or certain things. And you get to that point and understand, okay, red flag, that's one. Red flag, that's two. I got to go. Because the simple fact that third red flag could be my life or your life.
Right.
So it's understanding who you are as a person, genuinely as a person. Not tell anybody, once you get out of a relationship, you need to spend at least 6 months to a year
Recuperate.
by yourself.
100%.
Just by yourself.
and you-
no situationships, no
Nothing.
no
entanglements,
booty calls, no
nothing.
nothing.
Yeah, you gotta rehab
just understand, because you got to regroup. I mean, I tell you like this, even crazy, every time he prayed or did a teaching, he had to go to the mountains.
Yeah, he had to get
So
away
you
from
have to do the same thing. You got to go to the mountains after this relationship to understand who I am, what I'm willing to take, what I'm willing not to take, and how far am I willing to go.
Right.
You struck a
Okay,
nerve.
okay.
You struck a nerve.
It's so much to talk about. We didn't get. I was going to say we got so much, and I believe that we're out of time, close to it. Anyway, y'all let me know real quick. I just want to mention these things. Tinder. Have you heard of
The dating app?
The dating app Tinder?
Now we on dating apps. I'm done.
No. We're right here. 18 to 25% of the people on Tinder are in a committed relationship or marriage. Why are they? Yes.
I
Did you hear me?
believe that.
18
And you
to
know,
25%.
I heard what you said.
You know something? You might at that point, and I'm gonna be quite honest, you might as well become go into a poly relationship.
That's a whole new thing too.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So-
it's just if the world today is too bad off. So if I'm gonna jump from one to the next, and I'm already in a relationship, hey, listen here. I want more.
Listen to Will Smith.
Oh, I'm getting ready to say.
Did
Are
you say
you
open
saying?
relationship? Listen to Will
I'm just,
Smith.
I'm just saying. No.
What are you saying now down there?
No,
Back
hear
to
me out. Hear me out what I'm saying. Hear me out what I'm saying though. If I'm gonna jump from here to here, and I got one at home. Listen here, babe. This was finna happen.
Go ahead, Will.
We finna
You gonna
have.
find your Jada tonight?
We gonna have a poly relationship, because now at this point we gonna have a joint relationship. Either you in or you out. If you gonna stick around, this is what I'm gonna do. You get what I'm saying? So let's be upfront and personal about the situation. Hey, either if you want to jump around, hey, man, you mind being in a poly relationship? I got one chick that I'm. You know what I'm saying?
Let somebody say that.
Let the person, give that person a chance to say yes or no.
And that's from the words of Will Smith.
Okay.
That for tomorrow.
Okay.
Go ahead. I hope you find your Jada. I hope you find your Jada.
Why I got to be Will Smith on it? I'm just being honest.
It's so many
that's
places.
how you need to be.
You know, so what I have? 1 minute,
quit.
2 minutes.
I'm
One of
done.
the things, one of the questions I had. This is Neutral Voices. We're having a great conversation about female and male relationships. But one of the questions I wanted to: do we need to be in a relationship? I mean, is it necessary to be in?
Well,
He said, "Man that finds a wife." So we're going to go to the Bible,
Yeah.
and then God created
Eve.
Okay,
For a
so
helpmate.
so do we
it wasn't
conclude
good for men not to be alone.
it's not good for a man to be alone?
Yeah.
Human
Okay.
connection, I think, is top tier.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think of any good thing that has happened to you, or bad, or any memory, most of those things involve a person, whether
Yes.
that be a romantic person. If you go to the mountains by yourself and it's absolutely beautiful, or when you see a sunset or the sunrise, the reason we take pictures of those things is because we want someone to see it. So seeing that with somebody next to you, no matter what that ship is something that literally does something in the brain and gives you that rush. So
it does,
human
Jill.
connection.
Right there,
Big time.
when you say that. So if we can exit with at least these things, so it does something to your brain. It's the chemistry, and it's amazing. Anyway, I wanted to talk more about this. So Clarence, you can help me talk about this real quick. So being in a healthy relationship can have a positive effect on your brain chemistry, but yet conversely, the opposite is true.
Right.
And so the negative effects, and these are the reasons why. Real fast, I'll say the words. I can't go into all of them, but the oxytocin, which is the love hormone or the bonding hormone, it releases during physical touch or social bonding, and it promotes trust, empathy, and bonding in relationships. So the lack of relationships can lead to lower levels of oxytocin. And then there's dopamine, serotonin, and there's a couple other ones ones. What is it?
There's cortisol. You know, that is a stress hormone. That is, you know, if you don't have anybody, you can't decompress with anybody. That gives you, stress. That leads to, depression and different things. So you do need somebody, some kind of ship that you can relate to and have somebody to share things. But then the main thing is to have somebody is endorphins. That is the happy hormone. That builds you up. That gives you joy. That gives you energy. So, again, that gives you somebody to share with, and different things. So yeah, you're chemically made to have some kind of ship.
And like you said, it could go the opposite way too, and that's why the quality of our relationships is very important. You can have 6 different entanglements or relationships, but if you don't have quality in those relationships and they're not, bringing anything of quality to you, that's important.
That's right.
You can't have quality and quality at the same time.
Exactly.
Speak it, Will.
Quantity and quality at the same time. Shame on him.
Entanglement.
This is Neutral Voices in
I'm asking you can't have quality and quality.
How many?
Huh? You asking too many questions now. Why are you asking all them questions?
And it's time for us to get out of here. I'm gonna leave with this closing remark. Remember, every relationship is different. It's unique. What works for one couple may not work for you. So it's important to find what works best for you and your partner. And as we always say, as we exit,
always protect your mind.